Hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest webinar. It's a Tech on Toast partner webinar. And we're talking today with three brilliant companies who you're all very aware of, but today we're going to meet the founders. And it's all about the art of collaboration in the industry. And we spend a lot of time talking to tech operators out on the road, and they talk about integrations. They talk about what works with what. Well, today you're going to meet three different companies that work really well together, and they're going to tell you all about it. So with no further ado, my name's Chris. I'm the founder and CEO of Tech on Toast. Joining us first is Paul Drake, co-founder of Talent Funnel. Paul, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks, Chris. How are you?
Yes, I'm good. Nice to see you. Haven't seen you since our event at Service at Brewdog, I think.
Yeah, it was a good one.
It was a good one. It was good fun. And joining us today is Carl Holloway, co-founder of Rotaready. Carl, how are you?
Morning, Chris. Very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I think you were podcast number one, right? Maybe near when we first started Tech on Toast. Yeah, I think you were close. One or two, maybe. But yeah,
well, it's an honor to be in the top three.
It's been a journey since then, so you've been very busy, but I'm sure we'll hear more about that in a second. And finally joining us all the way from Devon today in his own private hotel is Simon Bocca, founder of PayCaptain. Simon, how are you?
Very well, Chris. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Yeah, we were discussing where you are today. Nice weather?
It's lovely, actually, and the dogs are here and they're very happy.
Good. Well, look, the reason we brought you all today is find out more about obviously what you all do, but also the fact that you're all working together. So if you wouldn't mind, just a quick intro, I'll go around clockwise from what I can see. So Paul, if you could start and just tell us all about Talent Funnel, what you do there.
Yeah, of course. So Talent Funnel is an ATS provider, and we also build career sites. But I'd say we're very much service focused. So kind of working very closely with clients to identify what they're looking to achieve, and then how can we use our tech to achieve that goal. Talent Funnel completely not candidate facing, so very much brand first, client first, everything branded up through that journey, and just trying to deliver a really strong candidate experience.
Brilliant. And obviously you're all involved in the people sector of the industry, which is obviously one of the biggest challenges out there right now. And Carl, since we met you, God, I don't know, probably 2 years ago now, the first time, what do you do and how's Rotaready doing?
Yeah, Rotaready, we're doing great. We're part of the Access group now, which is really exciting for us. Got the whole team still. Everyone's really happy. They're getting involved in bigger things. And Rotaready, workforce management software, all about the right people in the right place at the right time. So that transcends a lot of things, from your HR to your scheduling to your demand forecasting, cost control, time and attendance, clocking in and clocking out. So there's a lot going on, but it's about having all of those things coalesce together in sort of a very harmonious way, managing your people.
Lovely. Thank you very much. And Simon, we've met a few times, mostly in Dickie Bows. Normally I see you, but today we're not dressed for the occasion. But tell us all about PayCaptain. Been an exciting journey for you guys. What do you do?
Well, I guess we're new kids on the block, really. We started in 2020, but the whole thing was to radically improve the experience of getting paid for people. Really wanted to make it a good experience for individuals for receiving their hard-earned cash, make it a much better digital experience and give people more flexibility for the way they receive their money, basically, helping them save money, helping them understand their pension, helping them get some money in an emergency before payday, and also just make the whole process less tedious, less mundane, and less boring, really, and actually add value in an organization to really help people, get it done quickly, get it done effectively. And that was a key thing about playing nicely with partners like Rotaready and Talent Funnel to make integrations just really slick and work really well together.
And that's brilliant. Nice segue there. Thank you, Simon. I mean, how have you guys ended up? I mean, it's obvious why you're working together, I suppose, because the products are all great. But what really led you down this path? I suppose, Paul, we'll start with you.
Yeah, I believe the first actual trilogy was Dishoom. So Dishoom at the time were looking to replace the whole tech stack. And so the three of us were seen to be kind of best in class for them, or the best fit for the Dishoom brand, what they wanted to achieve. So yeah, that's kind of where we first started speaking as a trilogy and seeing that actually it worked really well together. And the three systems were quite similar in the way they felt. And I think the businesses were very founder led and had this very similar ethos as well. So I think it all kind of fitted together perfectly.
I think it's quite key. I mean, I've come to you here, Carl, about the founder-led part, actually, being able to still see the founder, and you're part of the Access Group now, as you mentioned, but still being able to see the founders in front of the product, I think, anyway, is one of the reasons we do the podcast. It's really interesting to find out about who's behind the business and why you did it. Is that how you kind of approach your sales still when you're meeting new customers and working with new partners?
Yeah. I was out yesterday meeting customers, so I know it's the same for Paul and Simon. We're always on the road. Getting in front of people, understanding how our products are being used, what we can do better, where we're doing well. We love it. And I think that's a really key thing, leading on from what Paul said about the three of us working together, is we were looking for a long time for partners where we could find another business who complements what we do in terms of the products and the offering, but has that same tone of voice, the same relaxed way of dealing with the customers, not corporate, not stuffy, forward thinking, and meeting Simon and Paul, it was just sort of a perfect match, really, because we all felt that we were sort of speaking in the same way and operating in the same way. And I think that really resonates with our mutual customers.
No, and Simon, you mentioned the word fun in your intro, and I think the industry has to be reflected right in the tech it's using now compared to where we were 10, 15 years ago. And obviously tech was a little bit more clunky then potentially than where we are now. And was it the same for you, that kind of the reason why you joined forces? I know you work with everybody, you all work with different partners, but is there a reason why you joined forces with these particular young men?
Well, definitely the technology was a key part. Obviously we're not clunky technology providers. We've all got APIs, we've all got modern user interfaces that deliver a really good user experience. So when you look at what's out there, and the need for companies, particularly hospitality and retail companies, to be able to have that sort of really joined up experience for not just for the employees themselves, but also for the managers, so that they can be really effective and they can be efficient in managing their workforce. It was sort of, again, felt pretty natural for the three of us to be working together. And I think we've probably got around 40 mutual clients using at least two of us, and that sort of continues to grow. And actually, that's where the sort of more of the benefits can really come in by using all three of us together, and in particular for that sort of end-to-end experience for employees, and understanding that data integrity and how it all flows through the systems is really key.
Yeah, I really feel like tech's turned its attention to people over the last few years in terms of, we had a lot of EPOS providers making a lot of noise and then everything else was going on. But it really feels like, that people and employees have become a big focus. And on that note, and I'll try and do this in the order of how people would use your tech. Paul, talk us through kind of the onboarding experience that I suppose that they would go through before they go through the journey into workforce management, then into payroll.
From a candidate side? Yeah, so from the candidate side, it's very much client-led. So it depends on what they want that experience to be. But we've actually just recently developed a really media-rich kind of candidate experience now. So the candidate will apply through the career site. They're not having to register for anything at that stage. So we're not creating an account for them. There's no drop-off. Very focused on that the whole way through that process, really, in terms of trying to keep friction to a minimum. From the candidate point of view. And then at any stage of that process, depending on what the client wants it to be, we can inject media in front of that candidate. So, we can give them information about what that interview process is going to look like in a really engaging way, presenting them with video of people that have been through that experience, trying to answer any questions they might have, and really kind of give them the best possible chance of succeeding at that interview. Once they go through the onboarding, our system manages all of that onboarding, from collecting their references to doing the right to work checks, all of that contracts piece. And then we start to talk to them about what that kind of first week might look like, what that experience is going to be like working for the company. And then with that data, this is kind of where the integration is key. Once we've got all of the candidate data, so all of the documents, all of the onboarding info, we can then pass that straight through into Rotaready. And that's historically, that was a case of you could get data through, but there was still a lot of manual work to be done from a recruit side. Whereas now, because of the tech, we can pass everything over. So it really is seamless. It's, all of the data, all of the contracts, all of the right to work checks. So there's not this kind of extra step that there used to be. which really makes this work.
And from the operator side, there was obviously some huge benefits as well, right? From using something like your ATS.
Yeah, massive. I mean, obviously, there's a huge reduction in attraction spend normally from the way we work. So that's everything down to the career site being set up for SEO and just really driving that organic traffic through. But then, like I say, as a company massively focused on conversion rate optimization. So just making sure that throughout that whole journey, we're ensuring that we're not losing candidates along the way, and we're presenting them with the best possible impression of the brand. So that brand is Talent Funnel isn't candidate facing, like I said. It's very much brand front and center. Just making sure that everything we're sending to that candidate is talking about that brand EVP. Why would you want to work for that company over any of the other hospitality brands out there? And the companies we tend to work with are all really passionate about their brand and obviously protective over it as well. It's a lot of in hospitality, as you know, candidates can be customers. It's incredibly important to deliver that great experience from making sure that everybody hears back from you when you're rejecting, making it incredibly easy to do that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's like when online ordering first burst onto the scene, or really burst on the scene during the pandemic. Everyone was going to a third-party platform where it didn't look like them, right? So their customers were ending up in this horrible zone. And I think employment, we need to treat the candidates the same, right? That they end up in an experience that they would probably experience if they came through a purpose-built website for that brand. So yeah, I think it's brilliant. And then Carl, then they're sent. Paul sends these lovely people to you, and they're onboarding. How does it work through Rotaready then?
Yeah, I think it's important to point out that transfer of information happens in real time. So it doesn't happen in batch overnight or once at 6 a.m. The moment that candidate is marked as hired, the right to work checks are complete in Talent Funnel. It instantly comes through to Rotaready, like Paul said, with all of the documents. Any sort of HR information that's been captured during that process is also transferred across. So really from the get-go, that employee profile is configured, set up, ready to go in Rotaready. And instantly, the moment that information comes through, the candidate, now the employee, gets a text message and an email with a magic link inviting them to download the Rotaready app. It takes them straight into their accounts. They don't need to muck around with passwords or anything like this. And they can immediately see if the manager has started scheduling them on the rota. They can see when their first shifts are. They're ready to clock in and out because they can do that with that same app when they turn up on site. So everything's just there. It's sort of seamless, frictionless, makes life super easy for both the employee and the manager because they can just get cracking. They can start deploying that person, figuring out when to schedule them according to their role and any other attributes. And then instantly that information is only in Rotaready for a brief moment before we immediately hand it downstream to PayCaptain. So then I can probably segue over to Simon here because again,
I might have a day off. You three are perfect. But yeah, I think the part of that you mentioned is something that we struggle with for a long time in people tech. If I could kind of categorize it like that actually it wasn't always frictionless. There's a lot of downloading, uploading going on, and a lot of human error involved. And I think what you guys have talked about so far is that removal of that, and that actually not only is it becoming frictionless for the person using it, actually for the people on the back office managing it, it's becoming a lot easier. And now, Simon, I'll come to you now, but I'm presuming that's where the real benefit of working with PayCaptain is, right? That you become this seamless integration with the workforce management side, and you're enabling people to get paid and do all the other magical things you talked about before.
Well, exactly. It's just taking away all of the manual work between, forgetting hours, pay elements, holidays, overtime, trunk into the payroll system. There's just zero manual administration to do that. Once it's all completed in Rotaready, it just flows through into PayCaptain. And that's then used for two purposes. Number one, for the employee to be able to see that information also in real time. That's been actually a really important thing for people to be able to track their pay and make sure that their manager has put the correct hours on the rota, and if there's a problem, they can immediately go back to their manager and say, you've missed my shift or clocked me out incorrectly, whatever it might be. And that also allows them to access some of their accrued earnings in PayCaptain. We have a couple of features enabling people to do that, to either access some money in an emergency before payday, or for monthly paid employees, they can actually receive some of their accrued earnings in an automated way every Monday morning to help with the cost of having a job, cost of travel, cost of car parking, etc. for people. And then all of that information is then ready for the HR manager or payroll manager to validate, sign off with the help of our sort of AI that validates the payroll before it goes for people to approve, easily signed off, and then the employees get paid the following day.
It's like black magic, I swear. When I was in operations, I did not. It was not like that. But it sounds brilliant. And actually, since Carl and Rotaready have joined Access Group, has it made it more difficult for you guys to work? I mean, does it put a barrier up, or is it still as easy to kind of? I'll go to Paul actually. What do you think, Paul? Is it as easy to work with Carl, even though they're at Access Group now and they're part of a bigger umbrella?
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think it doesn't feel any different. Carl is still so present in the business, like we said before. And actually, I think, Access obviously work with a huge number of different clients, but it's down to the client to put in the right products for them. And that's kind of what we keep saying, like throughout this, we're a phenomenal partnership, but it's all about getting those right products for your business. And so, no, I don't think it's changed at all. I mean, Carl and Simon may feel differently, but
Carl agrees
totally.
totally.
I think it's actually got better. We've got a great relationship, and how this partnership has sort of been being nurtured and going from strength to strength is great. And we have some integrations with some other Access products as well. And but the Rotaready PayCaptain integration is really solid and enables us to activate new customers really quickly. And it's great having obviously the relationships that the three of us have, that we meet very regularly, and we've all got that same sort of focus and drive to continue to want to make it better, better for our customers, and slicker for ourselves as well.
Yeah, and that's the key, Carl, right, isn't it? That's that point there. The end point is the customer, right? Forget everything else and all the things that people may talk about in terms of, but the end point is, what does the customer want?
Completely. Yeah. And leading on from what Simon said, we have a shared Slack channel between not just the three of us, but all three of our teams. And we collaborate there on any customer support related issues, anything we're working on together with new product development. So we really do operate like almost one business. We're there messaging each other all day long. So it's really seamless communication between our sort of three businesses, and it allows us to feel like when the customer is interacting with us, it's the kind of interacting with one team. You get the benefit of that best of breed of the three products, but at the same time, I'm sure our customers will attest that they never feel like they're kind of a mailbox being bounced between each talent funnel, PayCaptain, or Rotaready. They come to any one of us with a query, and we will own that query and resolve it together and come back to them. So there's sort of no need to figure out who to go to.
I think that's a good turn, like for clients when they have multiple systems. It's okay, but when something goes wrong, if you don't have that strong partnership, then it's very easy for that to turn into the blame game. And I think that's what we're really passionate about, that not being. It's all about the customer. And if something did go wrong, we're fixing that collectively, and we're making sure that the customer's happy. They shouldn't have to worry about this integration, because this is what we do. I think we're all extremely passionate about that.
No, I love that. And I think the finger pointing can happen sometimes when you've got multiple providers, right? And that can begin. And I think for operators, I was talking to someone the other day about features and all that kind of stuff. And the key thing they wanted to know from me is, what's the support like? They said, this customer was saying to me, will they get back to me during service? Will I find out about this? Or how long will a fix be? And things break. So we're all Apple breaks, right? So it's not like everything ever runs smoothly. Well, and on that, what kind of questions, I suppose, are you being asked from your customers or potential customers when they're coming to meet you, or maybe they're considering just one of the trilogy at that point, but then they end up maybe in a conversation, all three of you? I'll start with you, Simon. What kind of questions are people approaching when they have problems around particularly what you deliver?
Well, I guess lots of people don't always have a great relationship with their payroll provider, or they've got software that isn't automated and does take a lot of time to administer. So one of the key things that people really do want is that tight integration, and this thing that knowing that they're not going to have problems with that integration, and that we manage it and that we look after it and we're responsible for it. And the key thing around that is, of course, they're not having to sort of duplicate any data input that they have to do. And they want it to be real time. They want it to be very robust. And yeah, that's what we can do.
Yeah, and same for you, Carl. What kind of questions you've been asked when, I suppose, what are them? I suppose the evergreen problems people are facing when they end up talking to Rotaready.
Yeah. I think the big one we've covered, which is what's it like working with multiple suppliers and being bounced between them. But one that comes up occasionally is what does this mean for my employees in terms of having multiple apps for each of the services that are on offer? And ultimately you can't get around that. But I think it's a positive, because it means that we're all responsible for our own apps. We're all individually innovating those apps and making them the best they can be. We can do that on our own cadence and our own timelines, rather than having to sync up and try and coordinate in terms of releases and whatever else. But the key way we solve the kind of issue of do my employees have to have different logins for different systems is we have a single sign-on identity across all of our apps. So Rotaready is a kind of identity provider, and then once that employee is, like I said, when they join, they get that magic link, they're into their account, they use that same login to log into PayCaptain.
Right.
They don't have to create a new account. They don't have to remember a separate password. They download the PayCaptain app and they get invited in exactly the same way with a magic link. But if they're already logged into Rotaready, they're straight into PayCaptain. There's nothing else they need to do. So it really is kind of one identity across all the services on offer. And that just makes it a really beautiful, easy experience for all of the users.
And sorry, and same question to you, Paul. What kind of, what are you being asked, I suppose, before people enter into your world?
Yeah, I mean, from this pure integration world, it's always about the data. So, and it's that concern of, okay, what am I going to have to do once you've sent that data to Rotaready? And because historically you did have to do quite a lot. It was an integration of sorts between ATS and HR platforms, but it was very limited in the fact that you were sending some data over, but there was still a lot of manual work. And that's, I think, still the concern, and it's just getting through that message. Actually, it's not like that anymore. It is a true integration, and once that data's sent, you don't have to do any manual work. It's still something with a message we're trying to overcome.
I like that. No manual work sounds right up my street. And I suppose with so many people choosing technology, we spend a lot of our time talking to people. If you could give anyone a piece of advice, I suppose, when they're coming to implement, you can just say, just pick PayCaptain. But what kind of advice would you give people when they're looking to find the new product? Start with you again there, Paul.
From an ATS side, I always say trying to get those end users engaged as early as we can. So if you're rolling out and you're decentralized and you've got general managers using a product, don't just dump it on them day one and expect them to be over excited about having a new tech product to learn. If they don't use that product well, then you end up with candidates being sat in the process. You just don't see the benefit of it. So it's really kind of trying to get some key stakeholders, some champions in the business to really kind of show the team what they're getting. Go benefit led. Why are these GMs? What are they going to get from the product? They don't care about certain aspects of it. So how's it going to help their day? And the quicker we can get those guys bought in, the more successful the product and the better it lands. And that's the key.
I think that's it. In isolation, when you run, you know what your product can do, right? So you've built it, you know what it can do. And I think the person running the project opposite you also is aware now of what it can do and is happy about the things that will help them with. But for me in ops, it was always about the adoption piece for my team. If I didn't put it up, we launched ProNet, which I think is an Access product. And back years ago in Carluccio's, and it was an absolute car crash because we thought it was brilliant from an operational leader point of view, but from the GMs on the ground, they just didn't get it, and it just took us ages to roll it out then because we got it wrong. Same question for you, Carl. What if you could give anyone listening, what advice would you give them when they're coming to buy some new tech?
I would say speak to your peers in the hospitality industry, find out what they're using, ask them about their experience, and I think primarily ask them, how does that supplier manage when things go wrong? What's the support like? How quickly do they respond? Do they take ownership? Do you get bounced around? Because I think that's people I think now understand how great Rotaready is, all the features it has, and what the user experience is like, and so on. But the support is the one that I think really has to be seen to be believed. Our median response time is less than 6 minutes. Our resolution is sub an hour even for complex issues. There's that live chat in the product, and it kind of all gets delivered through that. And I don't think until you kind of experience that and get to see how quickly we can help, and the knowledge and breadth of knowledge that one person who picks up your query, they have that full product knowledge. They can deal with it all in that one conversation without needing to escalate. That's the key thing. So yeah, ask your peers, find out how they get on, and because that you can't learn that from doing feature list tick box comparison exercises or reading the websites.
Yeah, and 100%. And that's why we do stuff like this, right? The education piece and just making sure people share what it's all about. But your live chat is famous. I've heard lots of people talk about it, right? The fact, you're going direct to the problem, right? And I think it avoids a lot of that support mess. And people have bad experience of support, not just in hospitality tech, but just day to day in life. People don't like using support functions anymore.
And it's actually fun. We have customers who send us GIFs and animated videos in the chat, and we encourage our support team to respond in kind. So people have a laugh.
Sending you the monkey with the with the emoji with my hands up. And what about you, Simon? If you could give anyone any advice, what would you give them?
Well, mine is a little bit payroll focused actually, but I think really now, but lots of payroll software, or nearly all of the other payroll software solutions out there, are just really focused on the administrative process of creating a pay slip and pushing money into people's bank account once a pay period. But really, that isn't good enough anymore. It's a poor user experience that doesn't really support people's financial lives. It's not helpful. It's not helping people demystify pensions and helping people to build up their financial resilience. And more that's becoming so well understood to be important to have a financially resilient workforce. And that's why people should really think about solutions like PayCaptain that can make a real difference to how people feel about their money, how they manage their income, and how they sort of build their financial resilience for the future.
No, I love that. I think it's really important. As a young man growing up in the industry, I had no financial clue, and it does affect you. It affects your career choices. Literally, you'll make decisions based on, I need to earn another 10 grand just to pay, whatever it might be. So you would make career moves based on it. So I think financial well-being is something that was ill addressed for the last 20 years, and now should be addressed. So I think it's very exciting. Look, we're running to the end, and I want to make sure we get I'd like to work out the top 3 benefits, I suppose, of working with you guys. You can do this collectively, take one each if you wish, or how would you like to do this? Simon, should we start with you?
Well, just end-to-end integration, that works.
A trilogy that works. Perfect. Carl, what about you? What's I suppose the major benefit of working with this particular team?
I think it positions your organization for success in the future. So you're buying into 3 innovative products that are moving and innovating rapidly at pace, and what greater platform on which to grow a hospitality business. Love that. And Paul?
I think you've got 3 completely separate products that are all aimed to be the very best that product can be, whether it's pre-hire, hire, just constantly innovating. I think that's the real value of using 3 best-in-class systems.
I love that. And I think what's really exciting, I think that the hospitality operations are really starting to understand that there are hundreds of people behind each one of these products, right? Working constantly to improve it, iterating it daily. And we're trying to spread that word as much as we can to say it's not just, these single founders in front of these things. There's a lot of other people in the background working really hard to make sure that your product's delivered daily. And what about the future, guys? Have you got anything interesting coming out in terms of functionality or anything we should be shouting about? Paul, shall I start with you?
I know the dream from my side has always been to try and use the workforce better from the recruitment side. So, allowing us to talent match current employees and then allowing our users to backfill lower level roles. It's quite easy. There's still it can be a disconnect between recruitment and actually promoting people. So yeah, working closely with Rotaready on that is a big goal, really. I think it'll be a big win for our clients.
And for you, Carl?
Yeah, well, as always, we're sort of focusing and doubling down on our AI-based machine learning forecasting, demand forecasting. So the better we can get at that, the more data we can bring in, the more accurate those forecasts can be, and the more aligned the rotors can be to demand. So that's always our North Star. And we're making huge leaps and bounds forwards in that this year already. It's really exciting to see. But besides that, we've got an awesome, slick mobile rotor editor coming out over the next few weeks. It's going to really revolutionize the way people can build their rotors on the go. Yeah, really excited to get that in all of our customers' hands.
Lovely. And Simon, finally, for you?
We have a feature called Smart Pay, which we're just releasing at the moment. It's a function within the app that nudges employees at the optimum time with personalized recommendations to help them do good things with their money. So, for example, they may have just received a pay increase. So that might be a good time to opt back into your pension if they previously opt out. Or if an employee's paid off their student loan, then that might be a good time to start putting some money aside every month and build up an emergency savings pot. So we're really excited about it. It's sort of going to be embracing some generative AI to give people the best nudge at the best time to influence them to make a good decision to build their financial resilience. So we're excited to see what it does and how benefits it's going to give.
I mean, I love that. It's exciting. And I spoke to you all briefly off air before about an opportunity we're dealing with at the moment. Actually, sitting talking to the three of you, I feel like my work's been done for me. So I can go back and to the customer and explain. But if people are watching and they want to get in touch and find out more about individually and collectively how they can work with you, Paul, what's the best way to get hold of you and Talent Funnel?
Yeah, just come directly to me via email or via LinkedIn. Just drop me a LinkedIn message. Paul at talent-funnel.com.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And they're allowed to stalk you on LinkedIn, I presume.
Of course. Yeah, I welcome it. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, be careful what you wish for. And Carl, thank you.
Yeah, you come direct to me, carl@rotaready.com, or you can land on our website, start a live chat, send them a GIF, see how they respond. Yeah, kick it off like that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. And finally, Simon and Devon, about to embark on your lovely weekend. How do people get hold of you?
Well, Simon@paycaptain.com. Yeah, me and the team will be delighted to have a chat.
Lovely. Well, look, thank you, gentlemen, for coming on today. Really appreciate it. The trilogy feels like it should have a sequel at some point. So maybe what's the one after trilogy? I can't think. The quadruple will be following soon, I'm sure. But everyone will sure listen to this and find out lots about you guys and get in touch soon. So have a great weekend, and I shall see you all soon.
Thank you.
Cheers, Chris.
Cheers.